Now I think we're freaking live. Good Lord. Sorry guys, some retarded stuff has been going on. I didn't even, man, on a kick, I didn't even update my freaking title or whatever it's supposed to be. Every time recently that I've like gone live, it's been a problem. So you guys will have to give me a sec. Today, F me. What the freak? Okay. Okay. Give me a second, guys. All right. Awesome. We are freaking live. Now, you know, I've been craving to talk about quite a bit of stuff. Fitness is one of them. You know, I've been wanting to talk about the Spider-Man trailer. I was on the Average Boys podcast yesterday, and Derpy Entertainment was there. Love Derp. You know, but there was a point. So I wasn't really going to talk about the meetup, but it came up in a weird way on yesterday's live stream. And also, what's been irritating is like my entire algorithm is like people who hate on pretty much people I subscribe to. And some of it valid criticisms, like not going to lie. You know, I see like a lot of people hating on Eric July, and I've only read a little bit of his comics. I didn't think they were like spectacular. I didn't dive deep into it, but I can't really say much on it. I gotta read it. But there's people critiquing it or just straight up hating on it. Well, yesterday, so I went to the meetup Saturday. It was awesome. I didn't get to meet everybody from the crew or Nerdrotic or Drinker. Like, people started forming a line. I'm like, dude, that's gay. I'm not getting in a line to meet some dude who I think might be cool. But I got to meet Quarterback Garrett. The guy was actually pretty chill. It felt fun. I got to meet a lot of cool people, but it was also weird. When I was talking to somebody, I felt like people were like breathing down my neck. Like it was like they're meeting like some like godly celebrity or something. It was interesting, but you know, I guess I've never been one to look at celebrities or anybody who's like famous in whatever sphere and then think like they are more than a person. I've met a few people like just in Vegas or in some restaurant, and if I got to say hi, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, loved your movie, loved your whatever. Like, thought it was pretty good. It was nice to meet you. Shake your hands. Never take pictures with anybody. I only saw my brother fanboy once. He met one of his skateboarding heroes, Rodrigo TX, when we were kids, when we were teenagers. Got his skateboard signed. That was pretty cool. You know. But anyways, yeah. My algorithm, ever since then, everything is like, the reason why Nerdrotic sucks, Geeks and Gamers sucks, Cold Drinker sucks. It's like, what the hell happened? And when I was on the podcast, people, we were talking, we got to the topic, and mainly from Derpy Entertainment, where, we're like, I hate these YouTubers that like always hate on stuff and they don't even give it a chance. And I saw some people in the chat and whatnot talking about it, but I was like, they're not saying it already sucks before even watching. They're saying, from everything we know, which is the same thing I do, and from everything we know, from everything that we can predict, what this trailer is giving us, it looks like it's gonna suck. Like, these are the leaks. This leak sucks. Everything sucks. We all want to be proven wrong, but we're not gonna turn a blind eye to something. Like I said it on the podcast yesterday. James Gunn wrote Peacemaker. If he comes out with a children's book, I don't think it's going to be for children based off Peacemaker and the jokes that he says on Twitter. I don't think it's going to happen. If it comes out and I'm proven wrong, great, he wrote a children's book. But then if you're able to do that, why can't you just make the Green Lanterns for Green Lantern fans and not for your edgy HBO Max bullcrap, right? Same with Superman. Like, why is there so much cussing? Why is like things a little bit too, like the kiss is a little too long, too sensual, whatever? It's like, where's the purity in some of these heroes? Not every, like Peacemaker, fine, make it very adult. Like, we shouldn't have to watch it to understand a G-rated to PG-13 rated movie. We shouldn't have to do that. But whatever. It's whatever YouTube, like I'm like fans of YouTubers who hate each other, and I subscribe to both. Like I'm the kind of guy, like I wish everybody could get together, you know, because I feel like some of these guys, I'm not gonna name who, but some YouTubers I feel like would have like really good back and forth, right, disputes, and you can have different opinions and still go out for a cup of coffee, you know, still go hang out, go to the club, whatever, just chill, right? But it's not a perfect world, right? And both of them have valid things, like, but like all these YouTubers, if they're hating on something, it's because they usually love that thing. It's not because they hate it. They just want it to be good. They're not like one of the reasons why I like YouTube is because it's your regular Joe just coming on, you know, and taking the courageous step of like just voicing their opinions, right? And some is objective, some is subjective. But I don't think anybody is saying like this Spider-Man is not going to be good unless they adapt this specific comic and this specific page, right? Like everybody talks in the broad form. Like for instance, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he's going against the hand. Why? Like yeah, Daredevil's going to be in it. They edited it out. That's most likely the point. But Spider-Man versus a bunch of ninjas, he would wipe the floor with them. There's no reason to have Spider-Man going against the hand unless they're doing a new story, and then maybe they can make it make sense. You know, maybe the hand wants the Hulk. I don't know. But regardless, I think every YouTuber, they can have whatever opinion they want. The problem is like when we can't have a discussion just because someone is being negative off something you want to be positive about. If they're being negative with no base, that's one thing. But if they're making like a valid argument, you should be able to engage and not get offended and all butthurt and just move forward and have that conversation. Because maybe it'll open your mind to something like, I don't want to live in blissful ignorance where, oh, I'm going to just love this movie and I don't want to ever hear anything bad about it because I want to live in a world where this movie is perfect. No, like, I could still like something that sucks. It's pretty freaking simple. It's called a guilty pleasure. Like, what are we doing here? And I want to also talk about the difference between the Spider-Man trailer and the freaking Lanterns trailer, okay? First, let me point out, the Spider-Man trailer is not perfect. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's not... It does cause me worry, but it's all from a lore standpoint. What did the Spider-Man trailer do? It attracted the Spider-Man fans. This is the first time, I think, in all of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that Tom Holland alone, his Spider-Man, is attracting real Spider-Man fans. I think this is the first movie to do that. No Way Home had the attraction because of the hype, the leaks, you know, that Disney definitely put out. The talk behind bringing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in. That was awesome. You know, that, like, the word of mouth from their marketing was the bigger marketing that they could ever hope for, right? But this is the first time where, like, we got Tom Holland being a real Spider-Man. He's lost everything. He's no longer Iron Boy. We get to see him by himself. Now, they're taking the story to a point where it's already 4 years after college and he's still like depressed and like, dude, F Zendaya, screw her, man. Like, we don't need that crap. Go get the real Mary Jane Watson, white, redhead, boom. Get Gwen Stacy. I don't give a damn, just not that one, you know. And then, like I said, if Ned doesn't lose weight and they make him the Hobgoblin, I'm calling him the Pumpkin. Ain't no way. That's not happening. But I digress. This trailer It's very Spider-Man like. They got Tarantula, Boomerang, the Hand not so much, but Scorpion. It should have just been Scorpion. I want to see just a story of like Spider-Man, one villain with the issues that he has with, going to college and trying to balance life out and whatnot. Just a one-off Spider-Man movie that even if there's a second one, I could just watch that one in isolation and not worry about how it affects the universe and whatnot. But we got this one. The great things that it did, it made us ask questions. Why is this happening? Who is this villain? Who's the main villain? Are we going to be, having a Spider-Man 3 situation where like we have to keep following villains and they have to conveniently pass out so the story can move along? Or is the beginning of the movie going to be Tarantula and Boomerang and then he's arresting them and then, maybe Spider-Man's the bad guy in this film and Frank Castle's after him? Like there's so much discussion on what direction this movie is going to take and the things that haven't been officially, but they've been officially and unofficially confirmed that there's going to be Jean Grey, there's going to be Daredevil, all that stuff. This is the kind of conversation that Nerd Talk is supposed to be like, whether it comes from a place of negativity or positivity. We're talking about lore. We're talking about what kind of story is this going to be. Not if there's politics, not if like what the showrunner thinks and how bad is it going to be because like Disney's message is going to do this and Sony's message is going to do this. No, we are talking about Spider-Man. What comics are they pulling from? Which shots come from the like Tom Farland run, come from this run? Like this is definitely out of the comics. That's what the trailer did. It's amazing. What did the Lanterns trailer do? I don't care if you even think it's a good trailer. It might be a good trailer for a buddy cop show. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. What it didn't do is bring Green Lantern fans in. When you have a show called Lanterns, even taking the green out of the title, which Green Lantern still sounds better, but when you have a show like that, you have to attract all the Lantern fans. Like, if you have Green Lanterns in the trailer, in a solid suit, using their powers, you're attracting the Green Lanterns fans, and it could even be the same story, could have the same title as Lanterns. The problem with the Lanterns versus the Spider-Man trailer is the Lanterns didn't bring in the Lantern fans. It's a very simple freaking concept. Like I think it was I don't know if it was a marketing gimmick, if they were planning on releasing it, but they let the Lanterns conversation die down and then they released the Spider-Man trailer. It was probably a good plan just to show the contrast, but it's good for us, the fans, for us to see like, look, it's not that I have trust in Disney, but so far Spider-Man has been the only consistent, enjoyable thing. Not good, but enjoyable thing coming out of the MCU/Sony. And also it's because Sony wants it to be good, right? Like they're never letting go of Spider-Man. It would be stupid if they did. So Lanterns, in contrast, didn't attract Green Lantern readers, didn't attract like anything from the art of the Green Lanterns. People who are Green Lanterns fans are not attracted to this show. They're attracted to the concept that it might be good. But the trailer didn't do that. The name, knowing Jon Stewart's going to be in it, and Hal Jordan, that might attract a very small percentage of the Lanterns fans, and those probably who like James Gunn. But regardless, it definitely didn't attract Grant Morrison, I'll tell you that. Speaking of, it's already old news, but I want to actually show you guys what he said. Just to give you guys some quick background. Damon Lindelof a year ago went on a comedy freaking podcast, whatever, and he made fun of the name Green, and we took it out of Lanterns because we agreed Green is stupid, blah, blah, blah. Stupid joke. But the problem with that joke, and like, I get it, but the problem with that joke is studio execs, people in Hollywood, think these things are wacky. They don't care as much as the fans do at all. And he claims to be a fan. Like, for instance, Bryan Singer, who wrote the first two X-Men movies. Love those movies. But he even didn't want, like, they wanted them in Matrix leather And I'm okay with that uniform, but it wasn't the X-Men uniform we know from the comics, which are a million times better, very colorful, and it took 20 years to get Hugh Jackman in a proper Wolverine costume. Still don't think it's the best. I think it should have been sleeveless, and sleeveless with the gloves. But, you know, it's what we got. It was good. I know he went sleeveless at one point, but I think the shoulder pads should have kept on after he went sleeveless, but whatever. Still a great suit, right? Did a good job, but it took 20 years. 20 years for people to start listening to the fans, like, put on a fantastical suit from the comics. We want to see a great suit. We take this seriously. You might not take it seriously, but we take it seriously. Anyways, and then he did, after this article, he put out an apology on Instagram saying that he was a fan. Like, these guys are his heroes that, like, just freaking railed into him, and rightfully so. But the reason why he put out that apology is because of his heroes. It wasn't because of the fans. And he's like, the fans aren't wrong. It's a nice apology. It got me more interested in the Lantern show than the actual trailer, but I know why he did it, and it isn't exactly genuine. But I think what Grant Morrison, his response to that joke was chef's kiss, man. It was phenomenal. Yeah, and let's get into it because it really speaks on what Hollywood is like. They're not making these shows, these movies for the fans. They're making it so that their best friend could be like, wow, you did such a good job of being an ally, promoting the message, whatever it is, just stroking each other's chodes and being like, you're awesome, man. Not worrying about the money, not worrying about the fans, but whatever. Let's get into it. Okay, so what did Grant Morrison say about Lantern Show and Damon Lindelof? Back into it, blah, blah, blah. It's just lanterns. The comment has resurfaced online since the release of the show's trailer. On Substack, Morrison, who wrote a popular Green Lantern series among other comics such as All-Star Superman, Batman Incorporated, and many more, addressed Lindelof's comment. Morrison wrote, TV writer-producer Damon Lindelof's comments, notwithstanding the green in Green Lanterns, green is not stupid. Why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? You don't hand CSI scripts to patronizing writers who condemn forensic experts with their haircuts as stupid. So why hire people who are ashamed and in denial about the comic book material they've been assigned to develop? Why don't they turn down jobs they're not suited for? It's not like he needs the money, and Lindelof has proven that he can come up with his own ideas. What is this jockish dismissal of superhero conventions instead intended to prove anyway? Does Lindelof imagine it makes him seem less nerdy? It is a bit too late for that. So what's it all about? The only one who gives about the Lanterns TV series are Green Lanterns fans. Why alienate them at the start? This feels more like stupid. Green Lantern is such a more evocative and dramatic title than Lanterns. Just as Raise and Red Lanterns is a better movie title than Raise the Lantern. And anyone who can't grasp why that is shouldn't be anywhere near superhero stories. The show might even be good, but how much better could this stuff be if studios were willing to hire the right people for the job instead of phoning their embarrassed friends to water the source material down? Hollywood will die of insularity and inbreeding. By the way, as it says here, Lantern premieres on HBO Max this August. Bro, it said Hollywood will die of insularity and inbreeding. And again, he makes a great point. How this show might even be good, but how much better could it have been if they hired the right people for the job and not alienating the fans, Green Lanterns, the Green Lantern fans, right? And it's just right here it says the show might even be good, but how much better could this stuff be if studios were willing to hire the right people instead of phoning their embarrassed friends to water the source material down? Yeah, they're hiring friends, man. They're not hiring the right people. They're not hiring the people who care about this stuff. Holy effing lag. Give it a second. Give F me. Okay, is the lag done? Freaking A. Okay. Man, this freaking lag it's gonna be the death of me, dude. Pisses me off. So, how much better am I even gonna be able to do this damn stream? Okay. Still hella lag, but whatever. How's the CPU so damn high? Well, like Grant Morrison said, how much better would it be if they didn't hire their freaking friends? If they hired people who actually cared? If we actually got comic book fans behind this stuff? It ain't rocket science, guys. It's not. But yeah, and it sucks that we have to defend the fans. Like, I'm the kind of guy. Look, I've never tried to look nerdy or less nerdy, right? Right here on camera, I know what I look like. It looks a little weird, but in person, I'm not. I consider myself pretty fit. I work out. I try to dress nice. That's why I have a wife and kids. But I've like there's a problem in the nerd sphere, the comic book sphere. If you don't look the part, you're kind of not discriminated against, but you get weird looks. Like, it takes people a while. Like, you have to make the first move if you want to make friends, if you want to talk comics to the proper nerds, right? It's really annoying. Like, at the meetup, two people that I was talking to, even my friend that I brought along, they noticed that people were staring at me. And it's not like everybody, but they were surprised that I was there for the nerdy stuff, that I cared about comics, that care about that stuff. And it was interesting, I'm like, I'm just like one of you. I'm just not super fat and out of shape, and I'm not stinky. Like, it's interesting that it attracts nerds, but the whole point of comics is for you to be better yourself, become more than who you are, and like do good amongst others, right? And one of the first things that should happen, what should happen is you should get your life together. You should get fit. And that way you can actually be something. You could be the Superman of your story. And for some reason, nerds have never grasped that. Hey, start going to the gym. You're a nerd. You're a big Superman fan. You're a big Spider-Man fan. Why aren't you fit, man? Why are you fat as hell? Oh, it's because I like reading, but I don't like the gym. Yeah. Literally, what's in your comic, they don't necessarily like being heroes. They do it because they have responsibility. You have responsibility to yourself and your loved ones to work out and be more than what you are, to be the best version of yourself. You owe that to yourself and to everybody around you, to your parents who freaking raised you. Even if they were garbage, you owe that to them. Just by the ability of you having life and taking a breath every day, you owe it to the world to be the best version of yourself. Now, today, we're going to talk about fitness, okay? I saw the Moana trailer launched. The thumbnail looks atrocious. It looks like a L'Oreal commercial. Dwayne Johnson and a L'Oreal commercial, man. Let's check that Moana trailer out, man. But okay. And we'll talk fitness and all that other stuff too. But okay.
I know a girl from an island. She stands apart from the crowd.
I'm already not caring too much about the music. But
Loves the
whatever.
sea and her people.
That's nice.
She makes her whole family proud. Moana.
The camera kind of looks like AI a little bit. You know how like the AI videos, like the way they're shot, like on the angles. I don't know. Maybe I've been watching too much AI.
Do you know who you are?
The stories are true.
The story has just begun.
Whoa. It's not Pocahontas.
On our reef, an evil darkness has found us. Moana, the ocean chose you. Find Maui. Restore the heart
Maui.
of Te Fiti and save us all.
Maui, demigod of the wind and sea.
Hero of men.
Huh?
So it goes like this. Maui.
Okay, this is when he was buff, yeah? Dude, this hair. Bro. Oh. Okay. Damn. That doesn't even look like Polynesian hair. Like even in Maui, it was like all up. Bruh. This is like, oh, who does this look like? Ah, freaking. This is a Garnier commercial, man. Laurel, like a shampoo, L'Oreal, and conditioner. Like, you know, I need some conditioner. This don't look good.
Shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men.
He also might be gay.
Ah, women. Women too, men and women.
Thank you.
Is that a joke from the original? I can't remember. Oh, my bad. This wasn't that good. More lag, huh? You guys experiencing that? Experiencing the lag? But okay. It does lag. What? Okay. I think I think we got it fixed a little bit. Again, my computer freaking sucks. Okay, let's go back to the L'Oreal commercial.
Of Te Fiti and save us.
Okay.
God of the wind and sea.
Demigod of the wind. Women too, men and women.
Is that an original joke? The world of men. You know, we know what you mean.
help.
I'm not going on a mission with some mortal.
Island, my people, won't survive if we don't make it. The ocean chose me for a reason. And it chose you too.
Yeah, there's some shots that he looked okay, but overall.
Listen, princess, if you're gonna do this, you gotta go through a whole ocean of bad.
Oh, that looks bad. The CGI is not good.
Leader of my people.
Wait. Did you say I am Moana?
Are you ready to be the hero?
Let's go save the world.
I got your back.
Again, this is my problem with every trailer. The dun 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 dun. Stop. It's freaking the worst. Oh my gosh. But this is I'd say 3 out of 10. CGI is really shoddy, man, especially the water.
What? Is there something in my teeth?
Whoa, that. Okay.
Something in my teeth?
Yeah, that didn't look good. Did that say that's July? What is it with like the only marketing these movies are getting is right when you like 3 months out only. Here's my take on the movie theater experience, okay? The movie theater experience, if they're trying to bring individuals back to the movie theaters, it's not going to happen. Okay? If they're trying to bring families back to the movie theaters, the movie theater experience, that's where you aim, because regardless of how much more comfortable it is to watch a movie at home, we as parents, I have 3 kids. I want to take my kids to have experiences outside the home, to the park, just be out in the world amongst other people. Oh, my bad. And so I don't think the movie experience dies if Hollywood and theaters focus on families, the family experience, providing experience to families, to kids. It's one of the reasons why if superhero movies goes back to the golden age, goes back to a level of purity, no homosexual bullcrap, no sexual stuff, cut out the cursing, pretty much be a prude in a way, at least for the heroes. Like, I'm not saying, you gotta make Peacemaker rated G, but keep that as adults, but keep like the Green Lanterns for kids and families. Keep Superman for kids and families. You can make Batman, like for instance, The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. It's violent. I wouldn't show my kids, but I would eventually want to show my kids when they're a little older. They're a little more mature. They see the freaking Joker's pencil trick. Yeah, like I'm not saying water that down, but there's a level of superhero and purity in that medium, and Batman having a movie with the Joker in the way it was portrayed that way. Now, Batman Begins, I could show that to my kids. Like, I have no problem showing that to my kids. It's a little, and they're like 5, right? There's a level of purity of just a superhero being a superhero. There's talks of drugs and all that. I get it. But overall, they're going to think Batman and Batman being Batman and doing awesome Batman things. Like if a kid thinks it's funny that Guy Gardner's flipping off a tank, and in a world where like I don't care what you believe, you should respect the military that protects the country you live in if you have freedom, especially here in America, like you have freedom to do whatever the hell you want because of the military. Whatever. I don't care what your politics are. I don't want to see a 5-year-old flipping off a soldier out on the street because they saw Green Lantern do it, and therefore that's cool. Not that they're going to connect that, but I also don't want my kids flipping off anybody or flipping off because they think it's funny. Like, I don't want their heroes inspiring them to do things that adults do in a crude manner. You know what I mean? So if movie theaters want to live, they want to survive, focus on the family. And it's a smart business plan, man. If I'm gonna write a superhero movie, a Superman movie, and I know that families are skeptical, like I, as a parent, I need to watch everything before I show it to my kids, because I need to know if there's any messaging in it. I need to know if there's gay crap. I need to know if there's any bull crap on it before I corrupt my child's mind, right? But if I see that's a pure story, it teaches good principles of like work hard, be obedient to your parents, and do the right thing. Awesome. Like all that other stuff, they'll experience life eventually, and then they'll experience in the proper age that they could comprehend it, and then I could explain to them certain things in my way. I don't want my movies to teach them. I want every movie I show them for them to escape their reality, have some hope, especially if they're going through a hard time. They could go back and watch a Superman. They could watch Lord of the Rings. They could remind themselves that there is, as Samwise says, some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. But if you are a good person, you are going to face adversity like nobody else. Because evil doesn't really face adversity. The good does. And therefore, we have to become stronger and stronger, right? So if they focus on families, and I can trust that, you know, let's say James Gunn or Kevin Feige, they're going to only focus on comics, and they're going to take all the political crap out. If they have that trust, I'm not just buying one ticket to the movie theaters. I'm buying 5. And I'm probably going to take them to watch the same movie again twice. Instead of one person spending $15, $20 on a movie ticket and possibly popcorn and drinks, whatever, it equals out to $50. Instead of one person spending $50, what if you just get a family, market to that family, and like me, a family of 5, or I don't know, 250, but like $250 around there, and then watch it twice, it's going to equal out to $500 if I spend $250. I'm at least going to spend $300 on just the movie theater experience alone. And then I'm even going to help it more by buying merch, buying clothes, buying comics, buying freaking toys. And it's all going to come from the movie theater experience, because I'm going to be able to trust in Hollywood again. Trust that when I take my kids to the movies, they're going to be entertained, and I don't need to answer any questions that they're not ready for because of their age. And I get it. You might say like, oh, but it's PG-13. Like, you could only take 13-year-olds and up. Even if I have a 13-year-old, in terms of like talking about politics and homosexuality, I don't want him to get it from a movie. I don't want him to get cursing from a movie. I want him to still have level of purity. I'm an adult, and I still want a level of purity in my films. If I'm going to go watch Brokeback Mountain, I know what the hell I'm getting myself into. I'm never going to do that because I'm not freaking gay. But I know what the hell I'm getting myself into. I'm not going to go do that. I'm not watching Superman. I'm not watching freaking Eternals to have 2 dudes kissing. I was expecting Jack Kirby. I was expecting, you know, a level of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy because of Jack Kirby and just having a good story. But no, there's race swaps. There's freaking political ideology. There's sexual ideology. And all that stuff, even for a 13-year-old, can't grasp fully. All right? So when they see something like that happening at school, and then they come to me, mom, dad, like, I saw this happen. I saw 2 dudes kissing, 2 chicks. What the freak? Then we could explain it in the way we want to, because we are the parents. Hollywood isn't. And so if Hollywood goes back to like, hey, we're entertainment and that's it. We're going to PG-13. This is what PG-13 means, and it's never changing from that. They moved the goalpost. Today's PG-13 is almost rated R from 20 years ago. Scarface in many places was rated X because it was too violent, too sexual. You know, like when 300 came out, Zack Snyder, a lot of people were condemning it because it was too graphic. Like I pointed out, my wife, she's from South Korea. I tried to show her James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. She couldn't stand it after seeing like all that gore and the brain blow up on the ocean. We turned it off, and she's like, no, I'm not watching that. I never even thought I would ever see something like that, even though it's fake. But you're in the movie, so it feels real. And there's a level of innocence and purity because of how she was raised. And she doesn't want to see that. Cool. It is rated R. Awesome. But even that, that's today's rated R. That wouldn't be appropriate in the rated R that we had like 20, 30 years ago, because movies have moved up like that. Like remember Elvis, we've had a progression of separating, grading and the ratings, right? Where like Elvis, they only filmed him from the waist up because it was too sensual, him gyrating his hips that way. Yes, that's very, very like over the top, conservative and prude like thinking. But we solidified at one point, okay, this is G Elvis, this is PG-13 Elvis, this is rated R Elvis. Cool. But we keep moving, we keep pushing the envelope, and now we pushed it too far where everything's degenerate. Like people can't even see like, oh yeah, I don't mind cussing. Yeah, but it's not just you. It's the illusion of purity. So again, the movie theater experience, if you bring people to the theaters and market to them for most movies as families, and then rated R is rated R, but if we're going to go watch a superhero movie and we can trust that you're going to keep it family friendly and it doesn't have to be non-violent, but we know going into it, it's not going to have all that bullcrap. Congratulations, theaters have been saved, because the experience of the family, what we want to do is take out our family once a week to be together, to enjoy something together. Because guess what? I still want to take my kids out to a comic shop. I still want to take my kids out to a toy store. So the thing is, parents don't trust you. And who creates the market? Mothers, not parents. Mothers do. And if they can't trust you, and then the father, who's the protector of everybody, and they can't trust you, yeah, whatever business you're doing, it's dead. It's dead, man. So you wanna save movie theaters. It's not really up to the fans in the way of like we're purchasing the ticket or we're not. It's up to Hollywood and catering to who's the masses, who is actually gonna get people into the theaters. Word of mouth from a parent to another parent. It isn't one person bringing on one person and then a ripple effect. It's 5 people bringing on 10 people, and that 10 people bringing on 20, because we're getting all families together, going and having an experience regardless of the movie. And it's great when the movie is good. That's how you save theaters. Boom. Suck it. Like and subscribe. Suck it easy. Get out of my face. All right, next video. I spoke about this yesterday too. I don't know if you guys knew this. Here. Before. Let me go back to the right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Warner Brothers is already, they're trying to save themselves before any damage is done, because I fully believe Supergirl is not going to do well. I do not think it's going to do well at all. But I think they are trying to, what's the phrase? They come out ahead. Make sure that they come out ahead before the damage is shown. So they say that their budget, or it only cost $100 million to make the Supergirl movie. I do not believe. Just from staffing alone, Jason Momoa is getting millions of dollars for being Lobo. The actress, her baseline is the main actress for Supergirl, her baseline is $3 million on any project she's a part of. Just, you already got like, let's say 5 actors over $10 million. Like, most likely. And then you got everybody who's on the production side of things, the cosmetics to do the CGI. Maybe they're using AI and implemented AI technology. I don't know. And maybe that saved them some cost. But then you got marketing cost. You got, I don't know if they did rewrites or reshoots. That usually plays a big part. But even if they didn't do that, there's a bunch of other costs that they're not putting out, right? So one YouTuber I really like, Tyrone Magnus. He does reaction stuff, kind of like I'm doing, sort of. It's just because I suck at editing, and that's my channel. Congratulations. I suck. Have fun. But Tyrone Magnus, Supergirl only cost $100 million. Came out a few hours ago. I was talking about this before when I read the article. I don't believe it only cost $100 million. This is a lie. But let's see what he has to say. And then you guys can actually you know, take a part in this damn article. Damn. F my life. Okay.
Outsmart the market with Base
F
44
me.
super agents.
There you go. You guys
Set
get
up
an
in
ad.
seconds and ready to go.
Call him. Bring him to me.
I love this. Yeah. Dude, it's when he first came out, I laughed so hard. I'm a beat.
Well, if this rumor is true, it makes me wonder why.
It's a sick Venom shirt.
Why is that number so low for a tentpole movie? Could it be that Superman really didn't make the money that maybe it was reported to make? Maybe they don't have any
Supergirl
faith in
budget.
Supergirl. That's a possibility.
Wouldn't it be better to do an on-site story if the budget is
Maybe they
100
just
million?
decided to go with less special effects.
Well, they did it in space, bro. They had to build a set
know.
if they didn't do a special effect.
Could be one of those. Could be all of those. Let's find out here. Let's hear about this rumor here. Supergirl budget rumored to be only 100 million.
Yeah, but did they go over
The
budget?
rumor claims Supergirl may have had the production budget of only 100 million. Didn't that, was it John David Washington movie? Wasn't that around like a 90-something million dollar movie and it had great special effects? Maybe they're going that way. I don't know. Maybe they're just extremely efficient now. Maybe that's it. I don't know. That would be far below the 200 million figure James Gunn shot down back in December when he said that report was not even a little bit true. At the time, Gunn's response suggested the real number was notably lower than Superman's reported $225 million budget. Now, the $100 million chatter fits with the lower cost idea. If that $100 million number is accurate, the usual box office math would put the rough theatrical break-even point around $250 million worldwide. Which it possibly could do then, you know what I mean? On paper, that gives Supergirl a much easier target than a typical DC tentpole. It also backs up the idea that DC Studios and Warner Bros. Are trying to keep costs under control. That fits with the previous comments from Gunn, hinting the movie would not be carrying some giant blockbuster-sized budget. Okay. But why? A smaller budget does not automatically mean a smaller problem. Supergirl is still a major DC release. It's still part of James Gunn and Peter Safran's rebooted DCU. It is still expected to build confidence in the brand after Superman. So even if the movie only needs around $250 million to break even, that does not mean the pressure is off. This is not some throwaway
They're not making
side
this movie to make
project. It is
$250 million.
supposed to prove DC Studios can keep the momentum going. The budget rumor also fits with.
I'm going to ask what momentum? What momentum? In terms of superheroes, the only things that people are talking about is how garbage Lantern's trailer is, Spider Noir, which I think the talk is done on that one, Tom Holland Spider-Man, Daredevil Season 2, Doomsday. Nobody's caring about DC. Like, you have to actively go look for it. It's not like it's on the news and like in the front of people's minds. Like, unfortunately, and I love DC, but it's an unfortunate thing because the stuff sucks.
These reportedly short runtime. Supergirl has been said to come in around an hour and 45 minutes. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. I did hear about that. That would make it a relatively short comic book movie by current.
Honestly, that an hour 45 minutes or a 90-minute movie should be a standard. The movies have gotten too long, and obviously the shorter movies, you got more runtime. If it's a popular movie, you can make a ton of money. Like Endgame could have made more money if it was a shorter movie. Just to point that out. Just by having more slots for people to go and watch the movie. More time slots. Like, it's simple. That's why we got the theatrical version of Lord of the Rings versus the extended, because they would make more money regardless if the extended is better than theatrical. Because the theatrical was still good, but extended isn't amazing. But I digress. If they do a 90-minute movie or an hour 45 minutes, it's a good time for a Supergirl movie. You know, I don't want to watch 3 hours of Supergirl. And if the story's good, like, yeah, I would crave more, but I would want to watch a second movie. Not like, I wish this movie was longer. It's like, I wish we were getting another announcement of Supergirl 2, you know? But, yeah.
Standards. A lean runtime is not always a bad thing. That's true.
It's usually actually a good thing.
In some cases, it can mean the movie is moving fast and not wasting time, which is a good thing. But when you pair a shorter runtime with a lower budget, it can also create the perception that the studio is keeping the movie small. That is where some of the red flags start to come in. Instead of feeling like a major event film, it can start to look like more of a controlled gamble. Even with the reported $100 million budget, Supergirl has still been described as a pricey risk. This is because the number alone doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah, the risk is because Supergirl isn't a proven hero in cinema to bank off a financial success. We had one Supergirl movie, flopped. Supergirl has always been... This is the first official, like, actual proactive movie that we're going to pick a side character, because Supergirl, I don't care if you like Supergirl, she's a side character. It's the first time we're gonna make a focus on a side character, give her one of Superman's villains, and try to start a whole series off that, or show or movie or production off that. So I don't think Supergirl, even let's say the trailer was perfect and everybody's excited for it, I don't think it's gonna make $1 billion even then. Off right now. But if it's a perfect movie and they do the right marketing and people are hyped for James Gunn's DCU, it would easily make $1 billion, even having a side character. You know, like look at Ant-Man, did pretty well, and being the next movie after Superman, if Superman was successful, then whatever movie is gonna come out next usually will be successful. Maybe not as much, but will be successful. Like a good point is Infinity War, and then we got Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is a financial success. It's garbage. It's a trash movie, but it came off as one of the movies that had the most hype, and right before the movie that had even more hype from that, right? So if there's a successful movie and there's a movie that you're going to gamble on that you're not sure, there's no proven success. Like if you're going to do a Martian Manhunter movie right after Superman and Superman was a success, it's not as much of a gamble because people are interested in the universe that you're creating. But unfortunately right now, nobody's that interested in James Gunn's universe.
This is still a DC movie franchise This is still a DC movie with franchise expectations attached to it. Marketing costs will also be significant. The box office conversation will not just be about whether it makes its money back. It will be about whether it looks like a win for the new DCU. If Supergirl ends up barely clearing a modest break-even point, that may not be enough to quiet concerns. Fans and industry watchers will still judge it against the large goal of rebuilding the DC brand. True. Test screening rumors have only added more concern. Word going around online is that the screenings were not good. That has fed more talk.
Look, when I hear test screening, I would like to hear somebody that actually was a part of that test screening, you know? Because, like, who are they? I don't believe in test screening if it's just like people that they chose, that Hollywood chose, right? Like, are they testing it against people with a certain ideology? Are they testing it against people who live in a different country, not American, whatever? Like, who is the audience actually watching? They're not inviting YouTubers who are very critical, like, for instance, Mahler or Jeremy Johns, to go and watch this movie, and then they give an opinion on YouTube and being like, hey, look, I'm not going to give you a review. This is what I'm going to say. Me, I'm not sure if I would go watch the current movie that stands that I watched. Or I highly recommend you guys go watch it and judge for yourself, and then I'll do a review after the fact. Like, we're not getting that. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Supergirl may be another DC movie carrying behind the scenes warning signs ahead of the release. There have also been mixed reports floating around, which makes it hard to know exactly how much weight to give any one rumor. Well, that's true. They're just rumors. You never know. It's just you go with track record.
Exactly, track record.
Me personally,
Lag. Let's wait again for the CPU. Here, hold up. Give me a second, girls and gays. We're chilling. Are we lagging still? Okay, I think it's gotten better. Man. I need a better laptop. F me. Okay, there we go.
It looked like more of a controlled gamble. Yeah. Even with the reported $100 million budget, Supergirl has still been described as a pricey risk. This is because the number alone doesn't tell the whole story. This is still a DC movie franchise This is still a DC movie with franchise expectations attached to it. Marketing costs will also be significant. The box office conversation will not just be about whether it makes its money back. It will be about whether it looks like a win for the new DCU. If Supergirl ends up barely clearing a modest break-even point, that may not be enough to quiet concerns.
Again, like, I'm going to point out Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 made the most money out of both films. But money alone doesn't count as a success. It's enough for the studios to make more movies, but it's not enough for the franchise to be alive, for the continuation of a universe. Okay? Again, there's the budget, and then the projection, and then the goal. So if the budget is $250, they're also not making this movie so that, let's say all their costs are like $300,000. Let's keep it like simple numbers, $300,000. They didn't make this movie to make $600,000. Where $300,000 is break even and they profit doubled. They're trying to triple it. Okay? Like one of the great things of this medium, Hollywood, it has a high potential of ROI. You know, if you're in the stock market, the highest return you should ever expect is around 7%. There's been higher returns, but 4 to 7% is around what you should be expecting in return, right? Per year. I guess depends on how you're doing it. You know, when you put a product out there, let's say this bottle costs $5 to make and we're selling it at $10. You got to make sure that whatever cost it's like it makes sense, but there's a cap to how much money you're going to make from this, right? You're not expecting this to become a collector's item where like every month this goes up in price. Does that make sense to you guys? So when you make a movie, it's a one-time product that you're expecting to only spend a small number on, and then there's no more cost. Like every bottle that's manufactured, I have to pay to manufacture a bottle, and I hopefully have to sell every single bottle I make so that I could gain that percentage of profit, right? With a movie, there's no more making it. It could keep growing forever. You know, you could keep re-releasing it. You could put it back in theaters. You can use it as a marketing material for the next movie. You could do so many things with it. It's already a done product. So when the movie goes out, obviously, hopefully, it never stops making money. We know that's not going to happen. But you want it to triple whatever you put into it on one product. Okay? Well, in the box office initially. So if the budget's 300, you want it to make at least 900 million. That's how Hollywood sees a financial success. It isn't just breaking even. Like technically, if you make more than what you spend, that is in isolation a success. You have a profitable business. Doesn't matter if it's $1, you're profitable. You have a real business, right? If it makes less than what you spend, you have a failing business. Hollywood, one of the reasons why they're able to get away with this kind of stuff is because, well, you guys know why. And well, it's not just because of the like when something bombs, they can make excuses like politically the climate, or like they make the excuses of like theaters aren't what they used to be, whatever it is. It's all bullcrap, right? But when something has a success, then they could do way more. They could do way more projects, announce way more stuff, be a little bit more lenient on this project here or there, right? So, yeah.
And
they need to make a lot of money.
Still judge it against the large goal of rebuilding the DC brand.
Yeah.
True. Test screening rumors have only added more concern. Word going around online is that the screenings
test
were not
screenings
good.
don't really give a damn.
That has fed more talk that Supergirl may be another DC movie carrying behind the scenes warning signs ahead of the release. There have also been mixed reports floating around, which makes it hard to know exactly how much weight to give any one rumor. Now, that's true. They're just rumors. You never know. It's just you go with track record. If I'm going to be personally, as a Superman fan, if I'm going to judge whether Supergirl is going to be good, with the gun involved, even though he didn't direct it, the gun being involved, I don't have much faith in it since I didn't like the last Superman movie.
Yep.
So, I'll give it a shot, but it just doesn't seem, still what matters is the perception.
For me, I'll give it a shot because of YouTube. If I was back to being, like, I'm not going to make content no more, back to just being a regular fan, there's no way I'm giving it a shot. No way.
Right now, the movie does not seem to be benefiting from strong early word of mouth. Instead, the conversation keeps circling back to budget. Runtime.
Sorry about the lag. Why is this happening to me? Why? It's pissing me off. Let's see if it works. Is it working?
Whether the internal reactions have been shaky. Well, I tell you this, the hour and 45 minutes, I'm glad I won't have to be in the theater long if it's bad. That's a really good thing. And if it's really good, I'll leave the movie wanting more. So I wouldn't be able to yo, I can't wait for the sequel. Now, this is not the kind of buzz you want around one of the next major entries in a brand new shared universe. Well, we'll just have to see what we shall see. All I know is this. Project Hail Mary was great. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Woos. That's definitely.
I need to watch Project Hail Mary in theaters. I do want to know the box office breakdown. The weekly opening, the first week opening, and then their runtime. Because again, good movies need to be rewarded. And I don't think the theater experience is fully dead yet. I don't think that.
A great movie. And I had a good time, and I would definitely watch it again. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think it really is $100 million movie?
No.
And if it is $100 million movie, do you think it will break even? I think it's a possibility. I think if it is 100, I think it's a possibility.
Could break even.
But
Oh yeah, 100%.
Will it barely, or will it just clear it? Will it clear it in just a magnificent fashion? So it's like, there's going to be a Supergirl 2. 10 million subscribers.
10 million subscribers to me. Like and subscribe. Yeah, my prediction is gonna barely make 65 million. Now, because it's attached to DC, maybe it'll break even if it's 100 million. Damn. Oh. Again, I don't know. I thought I fixed dude. I pretty much deleted everything on my laptop, and I thought I fixed this whole lagging issue. Have no idea what's going on, but we're chilling. I even took Wi-Fi off my phone. Ooh, we have a Yu-Gi-Oh video. Should we try? Should we keep going? By Team Samurai again. Should we try? I don't know. I don't know if we should, dudes. I don't know if we should. Because I'm sick of the whole lagging problem. I honestly don't know what to do anymore to fix this lag other than buying a higher quality computer or PC, which I do not have the money for. But oh, good news. I start a new job tomorrow. I'm not gonna be. It's kind of weird position. I know a guy. He has a landscape company, and he's hiring me to spy on his workers. That's pretty much it, and also do some landscaping. See if people are wasting time. See if because. And I get it. I was a business owner. Sometimes it's like if you're there, everything's working perfectly. People are efficient, blah, 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 blah. But then as soon as you leave, why did a 3-hour job take 9 hours? Especially getting paid salary. Why would you work? Here's the thing. Why would you work harder if you're paying salary? But if there's bonuses involved in how many jobs you do, that's another thing. Right? I already thought they should probably get paid per job instead of hourly. Or instead of salary or hourly. Salary, when it comes to a job like landscaping, power washing and cleaning, pavement work, tile work, obviously you want high quality. But if the more jobs you do, the faster you become. It gives you credibility in the business to the client, but also your workers are happier because they're working harder, but they're also getting rewarded. So it's almost like they feel the high potential of infinite money, even though it's not so. You feel it. Like if there's a job you could do in 8 hours instead of 2 because you're gonna get paid the same, why would you go work so hard to get out of that? So you could go work even more for the same pay. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if it's ethical or not ethical. That it is what it is. People don't want to work hard for less. Okay? And there's a big problem with business owners, especially small business owners. They don't want to pay their employees properly because they think the money's too high, but they're getting more business. So, yeah. Whatever. We'll get to it, but I'm excited. And maybe I will eventually make enough money to get a proper PC. And I am on Wi-Fi, so I can't connect directly to the internet, unfortunately. Maybe I can. Eventually. Okay. Oh, one thing about the meetup that made me feel real good. Somebody said I look like Superman and I look like Clark Kent. It made me very happy. I was like, yeah. The three people I get the most of, people are like, who, like, has anybody ever told you, or who you look like? I get Joey from Friends, I get Ferris Bueller, and I get Superman. Superman is by far my favorite. But all right, as the whatever peanut dude says, let's ride. But okay. I love it when he says that, man. It's so funny. Obviously, I don't say it well enough because I'm retarded. But let's see if we can actually get through this video with no lag.
A user on X, Dahlia.
Team Samurai. What the hell?
A question that broke the internet. So why did Yu-Gi-Oh not have the same longevity?
Dude, I need to know who his editor is because this editing is pretty awesome as well.
Pokemon did. 1.9 million views.
Do you not know this?
937 replies. People losing their minds in the comments. Yu-Gi-Oh fans offended. Pokemon fans smug. People who haven't touched a card since 2004 suddenly all have an opinion. And honestly, it's one of the most interesting questions anyone's asked pop culture in a very long time. Dahlia had to even clarify in a follow-up. I know Yu-Gi-Oh still exists because I play it. I'm saying it dipped in popularity while Pokemon didn't. And that's exactly it. This isn't about whether Yu-Gi-Oh is dead. It's about why one franchise became the single greatest media empire in human history.
Okay, look. By the way, that looks cool. It's simple. There's many factors. Yu-Gi-Oh, they failed in getting merchandising out. They failed in understanding hype and what they should bank off. They ended series and started off new ones. Okay? Like, I'm all for ending a story, but the new ones, like, I love all the way to 5Ds is pretty solid. But again, you end it and then you have to do major marketing. And at the time, it was still the Saturday release, right? It was still Saturday morning cartoons. You have to do some high level of marketing. All right. And then, there was no merchandising. There was no, like Pokemon, they kept steadily fast. And there was a time where Pokemon, like the card game, wasn't doing so hot. I would say Pokemon Go really pushed it hard, gave it a new revitalization. But Pokemon, it's all been one series and spin-offs off of that, but one series mainly. You're still going with Ash, right? They did a kind of a One Piece thing, where One Piece, I would say 10 years ago, it was talked about, but not nearly as talked about as it is today, because it keeps going. You're still following the same characters, new storylines with the same characters. So there's a connection there. There's nostalgia there. Yami Yugi, we did get, like, every time they've launched a movie, their movies always did better than the Pokemon movies. They did. But every time they launched a movie, they didn't add anything else to it. It was just a one-off movie, and it wasn't a movie to start off a new storyline. Like, look at Dark Side of Dimensions. Why didn't we get more? It was a great movie. It was a fun time. You know, it was like super respectful to the original Yu-Gi-Oh fans. And then we didn't get a series coming off of that. Like, that's the first beginning of the series. That's their mistake. They keep making new cards, and then there's the power creep of the game. There's a lot of things that go against Yu-Gi-Oh, and I love Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's still a better card game, but it's solitaire and rock, paper, scissors, and a coin toss. That's pretty much it. Whoever goes first wins. That's a problem.
Worth over
it's unbalanced.
150 billion. And the other one, despite being so beloved, just as iconic, just as culturally significant, didn't.
Creating well-designed documents or slides shouldn't feel so hard, but it still does. And that's about to change.
Before we get into the why, I need to make something very clear. Because the internet loves to rewrite history. Both of these franchises were absolutely enormous. In the late 90s and in the early 2000s,
my first Yu-Gi-Oh card was from McDonald's. It was Megasonic Eye, and then my second one was Wing Weaver.
And Pokemon, the two biggest things in every elementary school, middle school, and Saturday morning television block on the planet. Pokemon launched in Japan in February 1996 as a Game Boy game. The anime followed in 1997. The cards arrived in the US in the late 1998 to the early 1999s. By the time it reached Western shores, it was already synchronized as a cultural invasion. Games, anime, cards, McDonald's toys, movies, all at once, all pointing at each other. Pokemon was huge. Yu-Gi-Oh debuted as a manga in Weekly Shonen Jump in the late 1996, created by Kazuki Takahashi. The anime we all knew hit Japan in 1998 to 2000 and reached the US shortly right after. The trading card game arrived stateside in 2002 with Legends of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, 4 years after Pokemon cards. As recently as 2021, Yu-Gi-Oh had actually outsold Pokemon in total cards. 35 billion to 34 billion. Crazy.
But only by 1 billion. That's important. Okay. He didn't show the influxes in when Pokemon was outselling Yu-Gi-Oh and when Yu-Gi-Oh was outselling Pokemon. Can't freaking lag, dude. What the lag is incredible today. It's pissing me off where we might end the stream earlier. I might try to get through this. Here, let me try to refresh the damn page. I don't know why the internet freaking sucks right now. Okay. No more lag. CPU is freaking high. All right. No. Okay. Wait. All right. Let's try this. Try it again.
One brief moment, the king of games was literally winning, but then the Pokemon card collecting boom hit. In just the following year alone, in 2022, Pokemon sold 9.1 billion cards. Dude. By 2023, they'd sold over 52 billion cards total worldwide. Yu-Gi-Oh's lead lasted about 2 years, and then Pokemon just ran away with it permanently. So no, Yu-Gi-Oh was not a flop. It was not a knockoff. It was a genuine phenomenon that millions of people loved. The question is why Pokemon kept winning while Yu-Gi-Oh plateaued. And
look, in terms of the cards, one of the big things is that's not flattering.
Answer is layered. For the people in doubt,
like, yes, it's layered, but Konami, they didn't understand what a collector was. So reprints, they understood nostalgia, but the problem was for like with the 25th anniversary stuff, but they didn't understand, you know, just having one copy of a certain rarity and making that a difficult card to get. Everything has a common now. Everything has an ultra rare, super rare, secret rare, prismatic rare, ultimate rare, whatever it is. And it's because that they can't control that market and they're too greedy. That's the big problem with Konami. They were too greedy because they wanted to control all the markets, but the third-party market is uncontrollable. Sometimes the fans are going to decide what is the most collectible thing, and it could even be a common card that only came out in one set and everybody's looking for it because of new cards that release a new format that they launched with, and now like years later this one card is a collector's item. You can't control that, and allowing that to happen is going to be beneficial to your company overall because it's going to draw sales up, right? But yeah, and then obviously having a balanced game does that as well.
Replies actually cracked a lot of it open for us, so let's use them as our roadmap. One of the top replies in this thread came from someone named CLP. They got rid of Yugi. Pokemon stuck with Ash for 26 years. Grown men will still watch Yugi and Kaiba run the fade till this day on some Goku and Vegeta shit. And he's right. This is maybe the single biggest structural mistake.
Again, Jaden and Yusei, fine with, but everything else was like
Yu-Gi-Oh has made. One that played out slowly over the years, and by the time anybody has noticed, the damage was already done. After the original series ended, Yu-Gi-Oh moved on. GX, new protagonists. 5Ds, new protagonists on motorcycles. Yusei, Jack Atlas, Pro, card games on motorcycle, that was pretty cool. But personally, for me, Zexal, Arc V, Vrains, now
Crap.
Gold Rush.
Crap.
What is that? Each new show brought a completely new cast, a new setting, a new art style. And with each reset, a portion of the original audience didn't follow, like myself. Meanwhile, Ash Ketchum was catching Pokemon since 1997 all the way till 2023. 26 years. The same kid. Ash Ketchum. The same Pikachu. You could literally drop Pokemon in 2005 and come back in 2019 and Ash Ketchum will still be there. The emotional continuity was unbroken. But after Duel Monsters, the iconic characters that we love, Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, they're gone. King Beast put it simply in the replies, shit got too confusing after 5Ds. And truly, it did. And that's the casual fan experience in a nutshell. Once the motorcycle showed up and the protagonist changed up again, a lot of people quietly put down the cards and just never really picked it up again. One commenter in the Trevor Allen thread made a point that hit different. Yu-Gi-Oh basically abandoned its primary characters. There is no Ash and Pikachu. Yu-Gi-Oh has iconic monsters it could have run with to become staples of the universe, but they chose not to do that. And Trevor's response was very honest. It's fair to say both were 10 out of 10 stories at the beginning. Then Pokemon chose to copy and paste theirs every few years, which sounds lazy, but it's perfect for kids. And now parents and siblings can relate to it and appreciate it. I guess under 2% of people seeing this know who this is. Honestly, Trevor, I don't even know who that is, bro. Is that Yuma? No, Yuma is
Performa pal, dude.
You see this? It even gets confusing for me. Okay, that guy right there in that picture, Yuma is from Zexal. That is Yuva. Who? No, dude, Yuya. That is Yuya from RV. There you go, Yuya. I almost got it wrong. And guys, that's the genius behind Pokemon's apparent laziness. The repetition of showing Ash Ketchum wasn't a creative failure. It was a generational bridge. A dad who watched Pokemon in 1999 can watch it again with his kid in 2024 and feel at home. The shared experience is priceless, and it's something Yu-Gi-Oh cannot structurally offer the exact same way that Pokemon does it.
It could have.
Here's one that Trevor Allen's thread dug into it with receipts. Literally, guys, with pictures. Trevor posted a side-by-side. Pikachu on one side and the wicked worm beast on the other. A grotesque, multi-limbed monster. That's your answer. Look at the two side by side. In general, Pokemon had a broader appeal to kids. Don't get me wrong, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards are iconic and had appeal, but to a more selective group of kids. Plus, kids media in general has kind of shifted away from this monstrous, edgy look. Just look at the Goosebumps fall off.
Because people
and I agree with Trevor.
suck.
There's a reason Pikachu...
Look, I don't necessarily agree. Yes, Pikachu is cute and all that, but going back to what they previously said, like a staple card, a staple creature character, you know, like you think Pikachu, automatically Pokemon, you know, you think Charizard, Squirtle, Charmander, Pokemon, you think like, you know, what, any of the newer Pokemon, you don't think Pokemon, you just think of that Pokemon itself, you know. Ash Ketchum, Pokemon, you know, but that's always been the face of Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh, they want Blue Eyes to stay the staple, but without it being in any other shows. Their mistake isn't having something fluffy and cute to gravitate towards kids. Stories gravitate towards kids. Who allows the kids to watch what? Especially nowadays where it's no longer Saturday morning cartoons. It is the parents. My kids start talking about Pokemon, especially my son, because he goes to school and other kids are talking about Pokemon. Because you know, if you turn on Pokemon, it's going to be bubbly, light, nice cartoon. You know, with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a little bit more mature, and I totally get that. You know, but those who are Yu-Gi-Oh fans, it's they know what they're getting themselves into. So more normies can gravitate towards Pokemon just by turning it on. But Yu-Gi-Oh also has the appeal of like an adult could be entertained by watching it for the first time, even if it's a crazy like a crazy story that doesn't have a lot of structure to it, especially the first season, right? But regardless, the problem wasn't the cute factor. And I don't think, like, people watch more anime now than ever. You know what I mean? And a lot less sexual anime. So I think this is not the factor. The main factor is there wasn't a cultural connection to watching the same character overcome challenges with similar monsters and adding more monsters to their main staple monsters and the main journey. There wasn't.
On everything from Gucci collaborations to literal airplanes. Anna Air in Japan has been painting Pikachu on their jets since 1998. The character is universally approachable. A 5-year-old loves Pikachu. A grandmother can identify Pikachu. My mom even knows what a Pikachu is, but if I show her a dark magician, she'll get all confused, like, what is this? Everybody knows Pikachu. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh's monster designs, genuinely incredible. Deeply creative, visually striking, but it's a different language. Dark Magician, Summon Skull, the Gate Guardian. These are cool to a specific kind of kid. That kid is real. I was that kid. Until this day, am still that kid.
Yes, but, you know, we have things like Baby Dragon, Karibo. They're just not in the front of, like Karibo could have definitely been Karibo could have definitely been at some level of Pikachu, especially after the first season where, you know, Kaiba makes fun of him for using the weakest card in the game. But they just didn't focus on that part, and I totally get it, but at the same time, you can't say that the Yugi cards didn't have that. You can't say that there wasn't like the cutesy factor. It's just it wasn't at the forefront. Okay, like the problem is that they just didn't utilize it the way freaking Pokemon utilized it. That's the main issue. It's about utilization. Like the show would have been different if they focused on Karibo being a staple card, you know, or like the cute factors and certain things, and that we see like every other episode, it would be a different anime than what we got. But and there's validity to it, but it's not that Yu-Gi-Oh didn't have it. It's just that it wasn't a focus the way Pokemon is.
Kid is a subset. Pokemon's Pikachu is for everybody. Jeffers in Trevor Allen's thread made a nuanced counterpoint worth including. Pokemon definitely has the broader appeal of cute monsters, especially amongst its biggest icons. But whenever you see references to any card game, you see Blue Eyes and Exodia before you see Charizard. Video games simply gain more mainstream traction than the TCGs. And that's a fair point. But the card game space is just one corner of the culture. Pokemon built a mansion, Yu-Gi-Oh built a really impressive room inside it. JC3 in the replies kept it super simple. Too much complexity added over the years, in my opinion. Bleak also mentioned they really overcomplicated Yu-Gi-Oh as the show went on. Pokemon maintained a certain familiarity that's easy to tap back into. And this is the death by 1,000 cuts that nobody talks about. Yu-Gi-Oh in 2002 was pretty easy and accessible. You had monster cards, spell cards, you summon a monster, attack, and the main goal is just to bring your opponent's life points to 0. Kids could play it in the schoolyard without a rule book. Sometimes we would even make our own rules. We just go by straight up instinct, we just summon monsters, attack, just exactly like how the show intended us to play. It was easy, it was simple. But modern Yu-Gi-Oh, Link summoning, Synchro summoning, Xyz summon, Pendulum summoning. Half of you guys watching this video probably don't even know what Pendulum summoning is. What are we, the alphabet? X, Y, Z? Bro, I know. Trust me. Hand traps, Ash Blossom, Max C, 10-20 negates, Call by the Grave, DDD,
banishment face down.
Turns. In Yu-Gi-Oh, if you walked away from the game for 5 years and come back, I promise you, you're not going to be playing the same game. Dylan in the replies captured the vibe perfectly with some dark humor. Everyone who loses ended up in the Shadow Realm. That's the player base divided by 2 every year. Pokemon, you can just go to Pokemon Center and be on your way. Yu-Gi-Oh, you literally go to hell if you lose. It's a joke, but it's kind of a harsh truth. Pokemon is warm, forgiving, and it's really easy to get into. But Yu-Gi-Oh, it is intense. High stakes, and it's very demanding. Yu-Gi-Oh is really great for a competitive, dedicated community. And in my opinion, it is not the biggest or the greatest when it comes to mass cultural longevity. Yu-Gi-Oh is big, don't get me wrong, but in comparison to Pokemon, that's a whole nother ball game, bro. Roberto Blake said it best in the replies, and it might be the most accurate take in the entire thread. It has just not the scale. Yu-Gi-Oh has a thriving community, but they didn't make the game itself too complicated for new players and OG players. The people who grew up playing this game, who watched Yu-Gi Duo Kaiba, who pulled their very first Blue Eyes, who knew every card in the original sets. Even they got left behind as the game evolved. Link monsters, Pendulum monsters.
Well, like the monsters got left, the game got left behind. That's why they had to make new formats. There isn't just one format, one size fits all. So like all the cards you grew up with are practically useless, where they even had to make archetypes. The big problem was creating archetypes. It wasn't, because Yu-Gi was a unique game. It wasn't that you had to have only dark monsters, only pyro, all that stuff. Or you could have a freaking demon and a dragon and a magician and a freaking furball all in one deck that worked. It's also the balance of the game. Because I guarantee you, with that, if they just kept the game balanced and they still added the pendulums and like these new additions, you know, tuners, all that stuff, but it wasn't about archetypes and crazy freaking combos where like this card complemented this card that complements this card that complements this card. No, like the heart of the cards moments would still happen. The moments of like being happy that you lost to a superior opponent instead of just somebody who had the money to buy a superior deck and the superior cards. It's just different, man. The balance of the game was the big problem.
30-minute turns, and at some point the game stopped feeling like the one they fell in love with. And if you're a brand new player trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, let me be honest, it can get overwhelming. You're not just learning a card game that we all once knew. You're learning years of accumulative mechanics, ban lists, and metagame shifts that changes every few months. Pokemon, on the other hand, is just really easy to get into. The rules are simple, the concept is very straightforward, and whether you're 6 years old picking up the cards for the very first time, or someone returning after a 10-year break, Pokemon welcomes you easier than Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's an ad.
That's
with lag.
I can't see your screen from here anymore.
Okay. Samisungi.
Cameron Brink will do anything to keep the optimum advantage to herself. Optimum Nutrition.
And that brand sucks now.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, Yu-Gi-Oh! Built something incredible. But over time, the doors just got harder and harder to walk through.
Also, it's like, you know, I think about my son, right? He's 5 years old. First grade is when I started finding out my friends at school were into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I started taking my deck to school. You know, they would bring it. We'd start dueling. Even in, like, the teachers, they would reward us with Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon cards if we were good. You know, like, instead of stickers, we got a Yu-Gi-Oh! card. It was freaking awesome. And, you know, like, if my son starts playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, he's going to play against me. And I'm going to have to make the starter decks from 2000, 2001 for me and him to play. Like, I'm going to have to go to the Time Wizard format, right? Old school format with only the old cards, because it's going to be too complicated for a kid to understand. A 5-6-year-old kid is not going to understand Banishment Upside Down, Graveyard Xyz, Link to Pendulums. It's going to be too much reading. There's going to be a lot of words they have to learn to even play the game. You know? So when it's like simple, like single sentence, 2 sentences, and then they only have one card that they have to read the paragraph, you know, then it's fine. But he's also not going to be able to connect. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to keep dying because he can't even connect to kids his age with Yu-Gi-Oh! Just being a game you could pick up. You could grab a deck, a couple packs, make your deck, and then start playing. You know, Pokemon still has that. One Piece now has that. Magic the Gathering, like, new sets stay within that, but it's yeah, like, my son might like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of the anime, and he might play so that he can connect with me and maybe play with his siblings. But in terms of friends, like, it doesn't appeal to the mass where, like, people know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I talk to people my age and they don't know about Yu-Gi-Oh! That have kids. It sucks. And so, like, his friends are not going to know about Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's going to know about it.
In the reply said, it just wasn't as good at hooking people. Gotta catch them all was one hell of a gimmick.
Yep.
And look, I hear that, but let's be fair here.
There
because
is,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
The
has
phrases,
had one of the most iconic catchphrases of all time.
Which one, dude?
It's time to duel.
Yeah.
It's time to duel.
Come on, you felt that.
More lag. Ooh, lag. It's true, I did feel that. I'm also feeling this. This lag is killing me, guys. It's killing me. And I was planning to watch like a whole hour-long video today on stream, but I don't think it's gonna work. I honestly don't know why, because the CPU goes up, but then it's like, I don't know, dude. All right. Let's see. Lag over? Is it over?
It's time to duel. God damn! Everyone who grew up in that era felt that. The music kicks in, Yugi's hair goes all crazy, the Millennium Puzzle all shines up. Oh my god! Yami comes out, you feel what I'm saying? The Tem comes out, the duel disc snaps wide open, and it's time to duel, baby! It's time to duel! That phrase alone could fill up an entire stadium with nostalgia, and I promise you that. So it's not that Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't have a hook. It absolutely did. The problem is what each hook asks you to do. It's time to duel, I'm gonna be honest. Feels like a battle cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time to duel. It's time. It's that time, baby. It's time to get your hands dirty.
You gotta catch them all. It speaks to collectors. Like, collect all the cards.
Most
Like
importantly,
Pokemon.
it is an invitation to compete, and competition
Yep.
has a winner and has a loser. It speaks to a different kind of person. It speaks to the kid who wants to truly test themselves, like me. You know what I'm saying? It's time to duel, but gotta catch them all. I'm gonna be honest, it's
Losers.
completely different. Everybody also knows, you know, gotta catch them all. You know what I'm saying? It's Pokemon, and I'll be honest. Gotta catch them all feels like a potion loop. You know, this catchphrase doesn't feel like it's asking you to compete. It asks you to collect. Collection has no losers. There's just no wrong way to do it. Collecting is, you know, you're never done and there's always more. And the franchise makes sure of that by adding new Pokemon in constantly every few years. Both phrases are iconic, but unfortunately, one of them had a ceiling while the other didn't.
I don't think that it's that important. Okay. Like, it's the connection and the quality, yes. But like a single phrase wouldn't cap out the ceiling, because eventually people grow up. So it's time to duel, and you want to be competitive, and like to his point, you want to be competitive and show, like, test yourself. You do that as an adult. You do that when you play the game. You do it when you play Pokemon, right? And I get the collection aspect, but again, if Pokemon did the same thing where like power creep and there's no collector cards, it's all, you can have the same card in every rarity. There's nothing special about one singular card, you know, like a holographic Charizard that goes for millions of dollars. It only goes for millions of dollars because it's super hard to get. If they came out with the same art, releasing that every year after year after year, it's not going to be worth $1 million. It's going to be like 30 cents, right? So the gotta catch them all phrase would be done. A part of it was just the collector's part. If Yu-Gi-Oh still had cards that were only in one rarity, only came out in one set ever, never released again, dude, it's time to duel. People would still be collecting, because collection is automatic. If you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't need a phrase to collect. It's just automatic. You know, I'm a fan of Star Wars. There's no phrase to collect Star Wars. It's automatic if it's good. So I don't 100% agree with it. I think there's some part to play in it, but I don't believe in the ceiling, and it's one of the things that was the 1,000 cuts. It wasn't. The main issue was a freaking blunt axe to the head, which was power creep, unbalanced game, and no collection.
Time to actually take a look on where both franchises actually sit at. Pokemon's total all-time revenue is over $150 billion. In 2024 alone, nearly 12 billion Pokemon cards were distributed worldwide, and merchandise sales hit 10.8 billion. The franchise brings in over 12 billion per year. 12 Bs per year, bro. Mostly for merchandise. The anime has been watched by more than 1 billion people across 138 countries. It is the highest grossing media franchise in human history, fam. That's crazy.
Didn't know
Pokemon is ahead of Star Wars, ahead of Marvel, ahead of Mickey Mouse. Yu-Gi-Oh, on the other hand, has an estimated total revenue of $20 billion, which is huge. It's a lot. Still a massive number, an incredible achievement. Sad to say it, but Yu-Gi-Oh is just a fraction when it comes to comparing itself to Pokemon. And that gap...
What happened? The internet sucks, dude. Wow. Freaking lags and stuff, dude. Okay. I think we got it back. What happened? All right. Just a fraction of its power. Wait a minute. Oh.
To comparing itself to Pokemon. And that gap, unfortunately, isn't closing. It's widening. Because Pokemon is a licensing machine. It's a video game pipeline. It's a card collecting boom. And Pokemon cards are now considered as an alternative asset class. Like, what? And its multi-generational nostalgia engine all firing simultaneously in a way Yu-Gi-Oh structure simply doesn't allow for. First, let's be clear about something. Yu-Gi-Oh is not a failure. Not even close. 35 billion cards sold, that's an accomplishment. Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most iconic animes in history. A trading card game that still runs massive tournaments worldwide to this day. A catchphrase that an entire generation can recite without even thinking. Characters that people genuinely love decades later. That is not a franchise that lost. That is a franchise that won, but just not at the same scale as the greatest media empire ever built. And that's the most honest answer
I didn't
to
know
that
Pokemon
question.
was the greatest
It was
one.
never really about Yu-Gi-Oh doing something wrong. It was just about two franchises being built for fundamentally different purposes. And one of those purposes...
No, it is about Yu-Gi-Oh doing... They did a bunch of things wrong. They're still doing things wrong. It is about it. I disagree on that one.
Happened to have no ceiling. Pokemon was built to be everything for everyone. Deliberately or accidentally, it became a video game, a TV show, a card game, a toy line, a mobile app, a fashion statement, a collector's market, and a childhood memory. All at once, all reinforcing each other. Pokemon scaled with you as you were growing up.
Yu-Gi-Oh could have done that. It could have done it. Like, this has been a debate amongst Yu-Gi-Oh fans for years now. Yu-Gi-Oh could have done the same thing and possibly even better. But there was never any care when it was outside the cards and the anime. The games, like, it's only now that Master Duel is enough where it's like, we finally got a game that we can actually duel other people. Like, they try to do a game like Pokemon Go, and I think it failed too, but it would have been perfect. Would have been freaking perfect, where we can have actual Battle City going on. But yeah, it freaking sucks.
It was always there, the same when you always wanted to come back. Ash Ketchum for over 2 decades? That is insane. Yu-Gi-Oh was built for a specific kind of person. The kid who wanted a real challenge, who loved strategy, who loved competition, who loved winning, who felt something when Yugi drew the card he needed at the last possible second. That kid is real, and that kid is me. And millions of us exist. And Yu-Gi-Oh gave us something that Pokemon could never do. A game with actual depth and complexity. Pokemon cast the wildest net in entertainment history and caught everybody. Yu-Gi-Oh, on the other hand, cast a more deliberate net and caught the people who were looking for exactly what it offered. And those people, like myself and all of you guys who are watching, who are Yu-Gi-Oh fans, we never forgot it. Yu-Gi-Oh is in our roots. So it's not that Yu-Gi-Oh didn't have longevity. It's just that Pokemon's longevity became something that genuinely never been seen before in human history. Comparing anything to that isn't a knock. It's just the reality of what Pokemon became. So why didn't Yu-Gi-Oh have the same longevity as Pokemon? The real answer is almost nothing did. Almost nothing ever will. At the end of the day, both of these franchises shaped the generation. If you grew up in the late 90s or the early 2000s, one of these or both meant something real to you. And like myself, I love both. I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And I grew up watching Pokemon. And you see, I'm not playing Pokemon to this day because I resonated with Yu-Gi-Oh! The most. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Both weren't just card games. They were how we made friends, it's how we spent our allowance, and how we learned that losing could hurt and winning could feel incredible. It's just so that one of them became a $150 billion empire, while the other is still out there, still competing, and still dueling. And honestly, that question tells you everything you need to know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Still lives. And hey guys, if you guys enjoy this type of content where I break down tweets and threads and answer pop culture questions
to Team Samurai
in regards
X1.
to Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon,
He
and
makes
things like
phenomenal
that.
Yu-Gi-Oh
Please let me know in the
content,
comments
man.
below if you guys,
especially now. I've told you I've had criticisms of him. I've criticized him before in the past. A lot of the videos, this came out a day ago. A lot of the videos he's coming out with now, solid quality, dude, and a lot less bubbly and just over the top, like trying to go viral type stuff. It's just he's starting to feel really real, like an actual person. Solid video. Let me let him plug
this
in
type
the
of
rest.
content, and be sure to subscribe for more content like this, because I had truly an amazing time writing this entire script and just breaking everything down and reading all these cool tweets. This video was super duper fun to make. And yeah, man, just let me know in the comments on what your thoughts on videos like these on the channel, and be sure to subscribe for more content and video essays like this. But most importantly, before I go, I want to hear from you.
Like and subscribe
You
to
think
me
Yu-Gi-Oh
too.
could have a comeback moment like Pokemon did, or has that ship completely sailed? Drop it in the comment section below, and let's keep the conversation going. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
I fully believe that Yu-Gi-Oh can, not will, just can surpass all these big properties, including Pokemon. Okay. The reason being is like there's many things that they're not doing. Like, for instance, hosting competitions that have no money involved is a bad idea. Like, what if, let's say Pokemon Magic the Gathering, if they want to amplify their business, if they have the most amount of money being given away, it's already going to amplify the brand. People are going to learn the game just to have a chance to win a certain life-changing amount of money, right? And if that's consistent throughout the years, throughout the what's it called? That's consistent throughout your life, in terms of business, throughout the whole year, that multiple opportunities are going to be given to the average Joe to continue to receive life-changing money. Awesome. The brand already grows like crazy. The thing is, this game, the Yu-Gi-Oh game, is not approachable. It's completely non-approachable. You have to have an expert fan next to you. If you are not friends with a Yu-Gi-Oh player, a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, a current person, not going to locals, but just understands, maybe plays Master Duel, if you're not a friend of that person, there's no way you're sticking with Yu-Gi-Oh. It's almost an impossibility because of the complications of the game, because there's nothing like there was the whole debate that of starter decks, even that is not gonna be doable. Like, some starter decks or structure decks were competitive right off the bat, and you're telling me a kid that picks that up because of the cool art, right? A kid might pick it up because of the cool art that's on it. Like, oh, I gotta figure out what this game is about, and then reading like the freaking handbook, and then you actually have to go onto the website to look at the handbook because it's too many rules and too many complications and chains and whatnot, and there's it's a lot to take in, man. Like, I remember I went to a locals and I saw this kid. He never watched the show, but it was his first tournament, Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and he had a structure deck, and I think he bought packs, and he made his own little thing. Obviously, he was gonna lose, but he was playing for like a good 5 months with, I guess, him and his brother, and then he finally went to the locals, and he never saw Fusion or Synchro. He saw Xyz and Link only. And he's like, what the freak is that? And I don't know what structure deck he was using that didn't have any fusions. I just remember, like, was devastated the amount. And then when he saw pendulums, bro, he had a stroke at age 15. It was insane. But yeah, it's an unapproachable game. Chess is more approachable than freaking Yu-Gi-Oh. It shouldn't be. Solitaire is more approachable. And people play solitaire not even knowing the rules. Poker is more approachable than Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, just straight up, like blackjack, just straight up gambling is more approachable than Yu-Gi-Oh. And that's the big problem. It's the power creep. It comes down to the card game, and then they could focus on merchandising and like the clothing that they have. It looks like the nerdiest thing ever. Just a bunch of characters on a shirt, and it's just whack. It's not a fashion statement. Like, I have one of my favorite hoodies has Dark Paladin, my favorite monster, right in the back, but it was made by a separate company that was able to license out or purchase the license of the of the copyrighted characters, right, of Konami. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it never grew, and it still has potential to grow to be one of the biggest companies ever, like Pokemon. If not passing Pokemon, equal, because it's still the better game. It is. And what's better for society? People who don't ever want to be challenged and stay weak and pathetic and want cutesy little freaking furry crap running around, or people who want to progress and challenge themselves and get stronger and better and try to literally escape hell. That's Yu-Gi-Oh! Like and subscribe, people, and go like and subscribe to freaking Team Samurai X1. Solid videos. I'll probably be mainly reacting to him. I am becoming more and more of a fan, like I used to be in the beginning of his videos. But yeah, like and subscribe, douchebags. Should we continue, or should we quit while we're ahead? Because I think the lag is just gonna get worse and worse and worse. We'll continue, because I am interested. But let me go get some water. Let me let it load. Let me go get some water. I'll be right back, ladies. Ooh.